This training video 13, I'm going to show you how to do a bank reconciliation. The bank reconciliation feature is found under miscellaneous and over here under the processing submenu. We're going to go over to bank accounts and we're going to go down to reconcile bank account. In this case, I'm prompted for my bank account number. I can do a lookup or I can just type it in. In this case, it's bank account number 100. And my opening balance is $380,427.03. Now at this point, I would have my bank statement in front of me. And let's say my bank statement, excuse me, on my bank statement, it shows a total of $350,764.95. It then, you notice it'll say as of, so as of today. Or I can type in an as of date. You can enter your interest and bank charges. So if you had a service charge or you earned any interest that the bank is showing, you can put it on there. When you click OK, it pops you up to the screen that shows you your payments and credits. Now, I tried to make this easy so I didn't have a list of a bunch of them. But let's say on your bank statement, it shows you that you had a check that you wrote to Visa for $30,000, and then but this one is not cleared, so the hammer still shows as open. It doesn't show on your bank statement as having cleared, so we're going to leave that one. And then we're going to click the deposits. In this case, you notice when I click the deposits, it's showing me, well, I still have 168.11 difference. Well, let's say that this one as well, the Benson Metals, or the deposit for that day was there. So you notice it shows my opening balance of 380,000, cleared balance of 29, which I just did, and the statement ending balance of 350. Now, if you have a difference here of, let's say you just can't find a penny or something, or 2 pennies, if you finish with the difference, it will prompt you for an account to send that to in the GL, because this has to be 0. As long as it's 0, now let's say right now, I say, oh, I have a lunch break, and I hadn't finished that. You could close this down if you want. It'll ask you if you want to save your work, and when you come back in, it'll be saved at this exact screen. But in this case, we're going to say finished. You notice it says the items that you've checked have been cleared. You click on OK. Do you want to print a bank reconciliation posting report? It's important to do that at this time. So you click yes, and you notice it says my bank statement ending date was this, because I typed that in as my date, as my bank ending date. The statement ending balance was 350. So I had outstanding checks of 4,982. Those were those 2 checks. My adjusted bank balance was 345,000. My checkbook balance was 345. Adjusted book balance of 345. So now, if I can print that out, and I'm all set, ready to go. And then the next time I come in and I do a lookup, and I go down and choose my bank account, you notice the opening balance will be that 350. The other one still 4,000 still hasn't cleared. So there it is, the opening balance of 350,000. And then of course, let's say all that had happened was that one had cleared. I could type in that one check, and then again, I'd go through the same process. Now, a few things that you want to take note here. Under your miscellaneous feature initializations, if you come down here and click on word or phrase of bank rec, or I can even just do bank rec. A few things that few of these that are important. This bank reconcile beginning balance calculation. How do you want the beginning balance calculated when reconciling your bank balance? You can calculate it to the date you entered, or you can do it period, calculate it to the beginning of the period. I did mine to the date entered. So that's just to tell you that you can do those differently. I think the default, a lot of people do it to the date entered, but it may default on yours to the period, because this has been added in the last few years. Also, you can right here allow reconciling bank balance in closed GL periods. Do you want to allow the entry of a date in the closed GL period when reconciling your bank balance? And this, I have mine to set to no, to not allow dates in closed GL periods, but you can choose that, and that would allow you to have those dates when you're reconciling your bank balance, to have them even when the period's closed. The only other one here is right down at the bottom. Save bank account opening balance after reconcile. Do you want to save the bank account ending balance as the new opening balance after reconciling? This one can say, you can, I just put to recalculate. Some people like to have this at yes, because then they want it to save, and it doesn't recalculate every time. It actually brings in it. They save their last balance, their ending balance, as their opening balance, as the new opening balance. So that, again, those are just some little tricks. Again, after this, if you come in here and you come in and do a reconcile bank account again, just be aware right here that the only thing you can do when you look up from this screen for printing purposes is when you do your print, you can do bank reconciliation transaction journals. So for example, I can do all transactions and it'll just print out all transactions that were done, all my cleared transaction or all uncleared transactions. You can also print your checks only that are listed and your uncleared checks. Some people have asked if they can go reprint that bank reconciliation again. The only way to do that is if you've actually put in and you do another bank reconciliation. So that should help you get through your basics on your bank reconciliation. Also, just so you know, many people aren't aware of this. When you're originally viewing your account register, if you wanted to put in a beginning balance, you can do that. And how I did it here when I was originally putting in my beginning balance, what you do is you can say new here and put in a deposit, put in new balance. I just put in beginning balance, the date of the balance. Don't put any vendor or any customer ID, and just put in the amount and mark that it's cleared and the date it was cleared. It will then that will be your opening balance. It will not hit the GL. It's made to do that, so you don't go hit the GL, because it's a setup feature. Now, if you were doing anything where you were doing and you wanted to do a transfer from one bank to the next, yes, those would hit the GL. But this new button, this is just for when you're setting up your balance, or you need to maybe later on something got off and you need to actually go put in a new entry to make it so, because you had messed up on your beginning balance. I hope that helps, and please let us know if you have any other questions regarding the bank reconciliation.